Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Sarah Scoop Show. Before we get started with today's interview, I want to thank Pantene for sponsoring this episode. Pantene's core collection is made to build hair's immunity to prevent up to 90% of future hair damage. Or as you may remember from my recent blog post, and I did a little campaign on it where we talked about hair break, and if you've been tuning along with The Bachelorette this season, you know that hair break and heartbreak are something that the Bachelorette may experience, but luckily for us and for the Bachelorette, Pantene has made these products to help prevent all of the hair break from the rose ceremonies and everything that the Bachelorette goes through. So make sure to check out the Pantene collection, which is available at your favorite retailers. And now we will begin our interview.
Hi. Hello.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course, thanks for having me.
I am so excited. I know we've gotten a lot of fun questions from people for you. And as we're talking, if anyone does comment that has a question that you want to answer, feel free. This is just a fun way to get the scoop on you and all of your fun projects and everything. So to get started, I would love for you to just kind of introduce yourself to us, because I know that you are known for Dash and Lily quite recently, but you've done a lot of other things, have a lot of fun projects. So if you want to just kind of give a quick introduction, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Sorry, this light just fell right when I pressed started. When I started the interview, and I'm like, great. All right, wonderful. Sorry about that.
No, you're totally fine.
So sorry, what was your question? That was falling on my face.
Just kind of like, I know that you do acting and things like that, but just like how would you, describe yourself?
Cool. How would I describe myself? Oh, that's a loaded question. I like it though.
Yeah.
So let's see, the basic, I'm French Brazilian. I was born in France. I moved to Miami when I was 8. I'm from Nice, the south of France. And I was in Miami from 8 to 18. I went to an art school where I majored in film, theater, and minored in photography. And then what else? And then I moved here like 7.5 years ago to LA, and I've been directing. I just did my first directorial debut this past year, right before the pandemic hit, actually. I was very grateful to get that in right before everything shut down. And then, just what else is there to say about me? I don't know. What?
Yeah, well, we'll just get into some more questions. What was it? Because you said you moved to LA about 7 years ago, and I'm assuming you kind of always had a love for acting, producing, creating. What was it that made you decide, okay, this is time for me to move?
I think I've known that I've wanted to move to LA for a very, very long time. I had my sister's been here since she was 18, and she's 8 years older than me. So I had like a family member here, in addition to knowing kind of that LA is the only place that I can make my dreams come true. So yeah, I've been blessed to know what I've wanted to do for a very long time. I applied to a university here because I was a good student. So I was like, okay, let me go to college. I got a scholarship. And then I didn't even finish my first year, and I started acting, and I said, this is great. I'm just going to learn on my own time without spending an absurd amount of money.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love, when you know what you want to do and you go after your dreams. That's very inspiring for people.
Thank you.
And so recently, a lot of people watched you on Netflix with Dash and Lily. How did that role come about for you?
Just like most of the others, got an audition in my email, and it wasn't much. I think I was already up for another project during that same week, so I was honestly like focused on that. And then I got the call back, and I was like, oh wow, it was very unexpected. It was one of those like throwaway auditions, I honestly thought, because it was 5 lines my first audition. So it's like a quick little and not too difficult compared to, like, at the same time I was working on Root Letter, which is extremely like emotionally taxing, and this child that comes from abuse and all that. So it was nice. It was like a nice lighthearted. And then when I got the news that I got it, I was actually shooting Root Letter, and I was so grateful to go from Louisiana to New York and get to work and with all these incredible filmmakers and actors, and yeah, very grateful for Dash and Lily.
I love that. And your role, I mean, most of the time people don't really like the ex-girlfriend, but I feel like they do in this movie. What was it you feel like about this character that you were like, yeah, this is really, I know you applied and did the audition, but there's got to be some sort of connection to these characters, I'm assuming.
Definitely. I mean, writers, I write too, so it's fun to see the other sides of the industry. But as a writer, I think you write a character and you have, a visual of somebody in mind, but the actor is really what makes that character three-dimensional and brings it to life. So to some degree, everyone who books a certain character or role has to resonate or relate in some way. Even if they're playing like a serial killer, you have to find a way to justify why you're killing all these people, so it's an interesting job. But yeah, I got sidetracked.
No, that's perfect. And one thing that I did, because I watched some of your previous interviews before this one, and in the movie, the Jonas Brothers are part of it, and you pulled out a scrapbook, and so you had like this love for the Jonas Brothers. Kind of, what was that like working with them in, going from having this, like, I don't know, crush, like, where everyone goes through that kind of thing, and then you're living out your dream and you're working with them. What was that like?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, yeah, it's so funny. I feel like that video is gonna haunt me for the rest of my life. Oh God. What's really funny is I feel like my career, I hope they don't think I'm like a crazy stalker. Like maybe I watch a lot of, crime and plot twist thrillers, and I feel like maybe they think I'm just a stalker who came in, not even an actor, just to become close to them. That's a fun little short film right there. Anyway, but no, it's been great. It's been great working with them. I mean, I was a huge fan growing up. And I actually did my first late night interview a few years ago, even way before I worked with the Jonas Brothers. And one of the things I talked about on the interview, and it's online, is how my mom, there was this radio contest called Homeless for Jonas, and we're not going to go into the details because I think there's too many Jonas Brothers, and Keana correlations in the world. I'm like, that's not all my brand is,
Right.
But no,
personally, I feel like it makes you super relatable because how many other people were huge fans of the Jonas Brothers?
I mean, I think it's just like, I always wanted to work with them. I would cut out photos when I was young of putting myself next to them. And I'm an avid believer in, manifestation. And I think my life has really been a lot of that, a lot of synchronicities, and like, oh, look at that. I've loved the Jonas Brothers and now I'm working with them. Or, I mean, there's a lot of examples, but it's a constant thing that I go through. So I hope people know that they have that power to, if you realize, and make little dream boards or journal, and then look back and be like, for example, I was talking about this today. A few years ago, I did this like at January 1st. I said, okay, these are going to be the goals that I accomplished this year. And then I just stumbled upon it a few years after, and I was like, oh, let's see. And I had accomplished everything on that list. And that was a huge moment for me. I think I cried of joy or something. But I was like, it's cool to see the things that I wanted to get done and like check, got them done.
Yeah. When you speak a little bit on manifesting things like this, do you have any tips for people? Because it is really cool to see people like you living out your dreams and things like that. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that would love advice from you, or just some tips or ideas on how they can either just create a plan or something like that.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, first, I think a vision board is good because you're visualizing what you want to do and stuff. Another thing, like I said, writing, and honestly, all it is putting that energy out there. So regardless of what energy you're putting out in the world, whether it's negative, positive, it's going to come right back to you, so that's why, like, thoughts. Yeah, okay, let's give the short version. I'm not a science major, but from my experience, from what I think it is, from what I've learned, is that thoughts are super repetitive. It's like they need nutrition. So for example, I've been through depression and all that, and it came out of nowhere, and it was this accumulation of the same repetitive thought every morning, and it just progressively would get worse. And I'm like, why? And I just think that that's just the nature of the mind, and you have to tame it. So you got to replace those negative thoughts. And it's kind of like a weird game. Like there'd be times where you have to like smile and like cry in the mirror and you look crazy, but like that actually smiling releases serotonin, so it will change the chemical thing. I think sound vibrations, I mean, I'm into meditating, so meditating is my number one thing that I recommend to everybody. But yeah, just, I mean, it doesn't hurt to try to be like, hey, I want this and this to happen, and then you like, and then if it happens, you're like, oh my god. Or it's cool versus like, I'm broke, my life sucks, you know, that nothing else. Like, for example, perfect example, I don't know if you guys have watched or read The Secret, but this has happened to me before, where because welcome to Los Angeles, where the real crisis is the parking pandemic. God, so many tickets, just everyone, they just put it on everyone's car. But anyway, so with that being said, I'll be walking to my car. Like, there's been times in the past where I'm like, okay, there's no ticket. And I get there, no ticket. There's other times where I'm like, oh my God, there's a ticket on my car. There's a ticket on my car. There's a ticket. I go, and of course there's a ticket. So honestly, yeah, that's, I don't know. Things like, just people call it coincidence and stuff, but once you get really tuned into stuff like that, it just happens more and more.
Yeah, I love that. And like focusing on the positive things, because I'm sure as an actress, I imagine you probably have been on a ton of auditions where maybe you haven't gotten a role.
Oh yeah, most of them. God, if I would, I mean, I'm also picky. I think I'm a very much quality over quantity. I'd rather, you know, be a Tarantino or Daniel Day-Lewis that do like, you know, 10 jobs. Well, not that. I want to work too, because I like to be on set. I don't want to do 10 jobs, but I'm definitely selective. I'm not going to just do anything. So I think everything that's meant for you is meant for you, and what's not meant for you is not meant for you. So yes, auditioning it's become a skill of just accepting rejection. And you know what it is? It's honestly, it's perspective, because I don't see it as rejection. It's ammo. It's I get really, really close and then you don't get it. And so it's not like I've never heard back. It's not like, okay, maybe I think about doing something else. Like I don't really have a fear of failure. So it's just like sticking out to it. I think that's a good tip too. Is if you believe in yourself, everybody else is gonna believe you. If you don't believe in yourself, who's gonna believe you? You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So let's go back to Dash and Lily a little bit, because I know I got a bunch of those questions for you when I put up the little questionnaire before this before our interview started. And so Dash and Lily, I mean, when you a while back when it was first released, when you turn on Netflix, it's like up there all the time, like top, what must watch on their list. What was it like just seeing it all come together?
It was incredible. I mean, like I said, when I got the audition, first of all, they didn't attach anything, so it was a very like secretive audition. I had no idea that it was with Nick Jonas and you know, the Sean Levy and the whole team of, you know, Stranger Things and all these people. I had no idea. So once I found that out, I was very excited. And being on set, I mean, I think it was the most professional set I've been on to this day. Just the most rewarding. As far, everyone was so warm, and you know, we're doing a Christmas show. It's not like we're doing a fighting film, or it's a lot of magic in the air, and what you see in the show is very much what it felt like on the days that we shot. So yeah, I loved it. This is awesome.
And let's talk about filming in New York, like the holidays and all of that. It was so beautiful. Like, what was that like?
It was incredible. Yeah, I miss New York already. Every time now I'm like, Christmas in LA, it's not the same. I mean, not that I was there for Christmas, but I was there for December. So, but I don't know what it's like right now because of COVID, you know, but it was completely magical. I fell in love with the city. I think I was one of those people, I live in LA, so I'm like, yeah, New York's cool, but I would never live there. And to be honest, once I spent more than a week there, that's when I got to fall in love with the city. So I think, at least for me, New York is one of the places that everyone should live there for a month at least, or then because not only was I getting to know the city, but I was getting to know myself. It was like, okay, I'm independent. I have my own little apartment in a new city, and I get to walk around everywhere. You can't walk anywhere in LA. Like, forget about it. So it was nice to be able to walk. I mean, I really took advantage of it. I walked from my apartment, which was right next to Madison Square Park, all the way to Brooklyn. So yeah, but it was fun.
I love that. I mean, so you were really just embracing yourself in the whole city life.
Yeah, I'm very tangible. I love like feeling, touching.
Mhm.
I'm very much like my life is a movie. It feels like it is, honestly. I'm very, very blessed. But yeah, I love to, for example, I've said this in some other interviews, but I went to the bookstore and try to find Dash and Lily on my own and have my own like recreation of the book. It kind of, I don't know. Yeah.
What was what were like a few of your favorite moments from filming, or a few of your favorite scenes personally?
Oh, okay. Well, I think to switch up, because I've answered this before, and it's normally my scenes. So I'm gonna actually highlight other people's scenes. I love Midori's speech in the slam poetry. I love that. And what else? Um, yeah, anytime the voiceovers, anything with the voiceovers, like when they're talking to each other through the book, I'm obsessed with that. Uh, the dancing scene, of course, the Jukor. Oh my God, I forgot. The Hollaback boys.
Yeah,
Everything that they were in, just obsessed.
I
Yeah.
love that. And I like that you're, looking at other parts of the movie besides just your scenes. That's so fun. And speaking, or the show, not the movie, sorry. But speaking of, because I was thinking of this question, that's why you typically a lot of books they turn them into movies, and I like that this is a little bit different than that. But when it comes to that, are you more of let me read the book first, or let me watch the movie, read the book?
It depends. I mean, for example, I feel like I was robbed of my childhood, but honestly, I'm not scared to say that I might still read it because some people told me it's never too late, but I have not read any of the Harry Potter books, and I have all of them. But I've seen all the films. So it's things like that where like I was just introduced to the film before the book, so it just I don't know. I love film. I love reading, but I think that came later in my life.
Yeah.
Not as a kid, or maybe as a kid, but then there was the teen years where reading in Miami is like a foreign thing. So yeah. But
I'm pulling up some of these questions. I don't know if it pushes you off or not, but we have there's like a little question box I can see on my end that people are adding to. Probably in here like 30 times. It says, "Is there going to be a season 2 of Dash and Lily?"
I hope. I have no idea. So I don't know. We did good, so I am open. That would be fun. I'd love to continue to tell the story.
Yeah, people that ask that question, you need to put it out in the universe.
Yeah, there you go. Manifest.
So you also have a few other things that you're working on. I want to hear about your production company because that is so cool that you have started that and you're working towards that. Like, it's really neat when people have a variety of projects they're doing.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm actually also making a tarot deck right now. So that's something that's like a short-term goal that I'm working on right now. I'm very spiritual and I love tarot, and I have like 6 decks of my own, and I always do tarot readings for like all my friends and family members, and I'm like the tarot girl. So
oh my gosh, I want a reading from you.
Yeah, what I'm gonna do, a little sneak peek, but when I do come out with it, I think I'm gonna do like Instagram live, maybe
That's awesome.
a few cards for some fans and some people. So yeah, definitely excited to do that. The production company though, Cinematica, it's called Cinematica. Started it with my good friend Andrea Reba, Miss Cinematica. So shout out to her Instagram handle for giving us the idea for our production company. But basically it is very early stages. We just want to lock in the LLC, and as far as what we've done so far, I did my film before, As the Tide Comes In, the directorial debut, and I did attach Cinematica after the fact. So technically, that is a Cinematica film. Other than that, we've just recreated a series that we're doing right now is we're recreating iconic films through film photographs and doing posters. So we have an amazing one right now that I don't want to spoil on what it is, but it's a role reversal is the only hint that I'll give. But some examples of what we've done in the past is we recreated The Shining, like the twin girl all grown up, and then we did Carrie, and so yeah, it was fun. Published in some magazines in Pulse Spikes and on Halloween. So we had like the Halloween publication, which was really awesome considering it was our own idea, and it resonated with some people. I mean, she's amazing. So I'm excited to move on to start maybe doing a short or a series or something. Aside from that, though, I do have my own independent project. So I am writing a series and my first feature. So that is more my priority than the Cinematica stuff. You know, they will maybe align down, but I'm doing the writing right now. So in the creative process.
I love it though. And then you kind of mentioned a little bit of this as you were talking, but as the tide comes in, I would kind of like to hear, you know, your role in that project.
Yeah. So my role was director.
And that was your debut, correct?
Like, what? Yeah, my debut. It's doing the festival circuit right now, so it's had very little eyes, but very good feedback so far. And honestly, I'm very proud of it. So I'm excited for it to be out in the one day. But yeah, no, I think yeah, I was director, actor, writer, producer, and then I had the pleasure of working with the incredible Nick Krause, who played the character of Ash. And then EJ Bonilla, who played River. And essentially, it's a silent film, but the sound is very, very important. It's silent because there's no dialogue, but the sound design was done by the incredible So Wiley, and we worked on it together. I sent her a few, like the Arrival soundtrack and like a few different things to pull inspiration from, and she blew me away with what she created. And yeah, we have a little bit of sound design, like some screaming and some shower, but for the most part, it's pretty silent. But it's not your typical silent film that is black and white. It's actually pretty big on colors. So before I get into explaining that, maybe I should tell you what it's about, because I haven't even said that. But essentially, as the tide comes in, it's a silent film that explores the in-betweens moving from a toxic relationship into a healthy one, and all of the resistance that comes with that, like unfathomable, you know, shameful cravings, lack of understanding, having to rewire love, all these things that people don't talk about on the other side. You know, so what I made it silent because I wanted to help people who either are currently enduring, you know, situations like that and aren't even aware of it. Sometimes that's the case, and or people who have in the past. And so far, it seems I had a friend watch it, and she like started crying, was like, oh my god, I didn't realize that I'm stuck in my relationship, and your film really helped me realize that. I'm like, that's the point, so thank you. Yeah, and so Ash and River, basically they represent the past and the new guy, and it's not really about them. It's more so the lead character, Lady, which I play. It's like the inner workings of her brain and her lack of understanding in this transition period. So everything is thought out. Everything you see from, for example, the film is all at night, and I'm always on the right side of the bed. And then the last shot, it's there. I introduce light into the film, and I'm actually on the left side. So those are small, like, directorial things that nobody would really understand unless they're like film geeks. Like, I watch things like that and I'm like, oh my god, I see, like when they do transitions, I'm like, I don't know if regular audience would know, but like I see what you're doing there. So yeah, just little things like that. Or for example, the character of Ash represents burnt out fire. So all of his shots are they come in as triggers because they're pastime, but they're all red. So everything's red. And then with EJ River, it's river, so everything is new and flow and teal and green and blue. So I play with that too, and yeah, it's really much an art therapy piece that I hope resonates, and I think it will.
And you mentioned like your friend connecting, but I mean, even in this chat alone, there's people from all over the world that are connecting with you. I mean, how does that feel to be able to reach people in so many different places, so many different places in their lives, all of those things?
Oh my god, it's great. And it's honestly, it's only getting more and more as I learn information. I'm like, I want to share this. Like, this is my one way to help. Like, this is my time to do it right now. So last night I almost went on like I wanted to share this, and I'm like, well, this isn't the time, but maybe this is the time. But like yesterday I was watching this incredible show that my friend is in called The Wilds. So shout out to The Wilds. And one of the scenes that they had, there's this character who's kind of exploring her sexuality, and her father is very, against same-sex love and interaction, whatever, all that stuff. And so basically he's like conditioned her to think that she's like wrong, and all she did, I'm sorry, spoiler alert, is that she pop kissed her friend when she was like 15 years old. I'm gonna be very honest. Do you know how many girls I've kissed when I was 15 years old? Like, it's in and not like, I just feel like, wow, if I had parents that were like so, I just felt so bad for her. And like children, like teenagers, they're exploring, they're supposed to be curious right now. So like for you, if you're going through like somebody like this, like one of your parents are like this, please, I hope you're watching this, because my heart hurts knowing that that exists. And yeah, I guess there's maybe not enough movies that I've seen that represent it, or it really hit me last night when I watched it. But like, I like definitely have kissed girls in high school and stuff, and middle school even, and I just wish that it's more normal. I think it's a normal thing. I don't know. So.
And it sounds like, I know you've got a ton of information on like film and acting and all of these things, but it seems like you also are very just, I don't know, like a person that is very, what am I trying to say? I think it's hard for people to get to a spot in their lives where they're just happy with who they are and able to find direction. And I could be wrong, but it definitely comes across that you are there. And so it's, I mean, just even like surrounding yourself with the right people and things, and with everything that's been happening in the world right now, people are having to like reevaluate their lives and directions and things. And I'm just curious, like how you got to this point, because I know especially you probably do have a lot of younger fans as well that are looking up to you, trying to find their path and their way. So any tips that you have or want to share? If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I feel very like you just have good energy like that.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. I think the first thing is, yeah, like you said, connect, just be transparent, honestly. Be yourself. And I think I'm a Cancer, so I'm very like empathetic and emotional, and I think there's so much going on in the world, and it drains me that I can't help more, you know what I mean? So it's like, well, I can't help with this or that, and it's like, what can I do? And so when that, it would stress me out. Like, it would honestly stress me out, like, am I not doing enough? But it's like, I don't have the passion, drive, or energy to be like a full-on activist. But it's like, what can I help? What can I share? What is my part? And then I'm realizing now, like through these interviews, that my part is just to be myself. And like, as scary as that is, like, honestly, it's how people resonate. And it's just, I'm very open, sometimes too honest for my own good. I think people have a misinterpretation of actors being good liars, because I think to be a good actor, you have to be the most honest and the most vulnerable. And that's all I know. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm an oversharer of my own information. But I think I'm not scared. I have nothing to hide. So really, people can throw anything my way with grace, because something that I have learned within the last few months, I'm really trying to break down generational trauma throughout the world. And I think people don't talk about a lot of things that they're supposed to talk about, because they think it's protective. Like, they're like, no, let's not talk about it. And people do that to themselves. But I've seen it in families, like, oh, don't bring it up. Like, shh, it's okay. Like, and it's like, no. We need to talk about these things so they stop happening, so people realize it's normal. So like, I don't know, that show triggered me last night too. I'm just like, what? Because to me, I'm very free, I think, and I'm very blessed to have had like very understanding, free parents. I'm also the last of 3, so like, I wasn't the first rodeo. But yeah, like, let's talk about the things people won't talk about, because like everyone kind of goes through the same things. And as weird and obscure and as dramatic as they may seem, like, you are most likely not the only person who's going through that thing. So yeah. And if you just mouth a bit more, you'll find it out real quick.
Yeah, you have such great advice. I love it.
Thank you.
What are some of your favorite films? Because I find it like, being on the other side, and you are on all parts of these creating all of these movies and things. Like, what are some of your all-time favorites that you think people should watch?
My all-time favorites are pretty obscure. So I don't know who's watching this right now, but make sure you're allowed to watch it. Like, parental supervision. But my favorites are Clockwork Orange, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Taxi Driver, Room, Moonrise Kingdom. Oh, that's one for kids. What else? I love. What did I recently watch? Captain Fantastic is great. Get Out. There's a lot of good ones. Ooh, Berlin Syndrome. Let's throw some obscure things that maybe people haven't heard about. I don't know. Have you heard of that one?
I have not, but I'm like, bring it on, because I think there's always so many recommendations. There's so many things out there that we don't always know about or see, and so it's cool to hear some ideas. Sometimes you're like, what should I watch? I've already watched everything that this app is recommending for me.
Right. Yeah. There's anything. Oh, Boogie Nights. That's in my top 5. I totally forgot. Yeah, I love the Andersons, Paul Thomas and Wes. I just saw Uncut Gems for the first time. It was incredible. What's the other movie? Good Time, that they did before with Robert Pattinson. I haven't thought about this in forever, but The Lovely Bones. I don't know if that's in my top, but it's a good movie.
And a book. There you go. There's another book one.
Oh, you see another. For the most part, I think a lot of them are books, and I'm not even aware, to be honest. And then it hurts my heart when, like, one of my favorite books was The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls, if I'm not mistaken. And they turned that into a movie, and to be honest, I can't speak for it because I haven't watched it, but it didn't even go to theaters. It didn't, and this is before pandemic, and it's like Woody Harrelson and Brie Larson, and I'm like, that's a great cast. Like, what's going on with it? Just apparently it's really bad, and that makes me sad. I want to like buy it and option it to like remake it one day because I love that book. I know this much is true. I love that book, and I haven't seen the HBO series yet, so maybe that's something I could do. That was a really good book. I don't know if you've seen it. The Mark Ruffalo plays he plays his twin brother on HBO.
Oh, I think I have actually seen that one. I just got the HBO the Max because I wanted to watch The Flight Attendant. Did you watch it?
I did. I got to watch I went to the virtual screening, No, it was cool. I haven't watched it since. I'm like I told you, I was in a binge of The Wilds, which shout out, like it's cool to see friends on a dope show. And then I just watched Sound of Metal last night. I don't know if you've heard of that, but it's reason. I don't want to mess up his name, so I'm not gonna say it because I don't know how. But then it's about, if you haven't heard about it, it's about this metal drummer who starts to lose his hearing and he's going deaf, and it's just like, it's heartbreaking, but it's so good. Like, it's really well done.
That's good though. That's the kind that you just can't stop watching when you like can feel it. You're like,
oh. Yeah, no, I woke up, I actually fell asleep because it was like kind of late at night. And here's the thing is, like, if I'm in my bed and I'm kind of sitting up watching something, cool. But then if I just go down a little bit and curl, there's a chance that my eyes will just, and it did. And so I fell asleep last night like that. And I just hate that. I hate when I fall asleep, not when I want to fall asleep. I'm like, no. But I don't even know where I was going with it. Oh yeah, that I woke up like so heavy, just internalizing all of that man's problems from the movie because I fell asleep watching it.
You need to start watching like feel goods.
I can't breathe. Like, I'm stranded on an island and I'm deaf. Like, what's going on? Like,
not for us to change our topic here, but you're getting a lot of questions on beauty tips and if your curls are real, what you use for your makeup.
Beauty tips. It's looking crazy right now. I apologize. I'm trying to, casually move it around, but beauty tips, yeah, nothing. No, my hair, I mean, honestly, yeah, these are all natural. If I were to brush it, it would look a little bit not as cute, like just a little fizzy. I don't know. I like this look better. So that's that. I wash my hair and I brush it when it's wet, and that's it. As far as hair goes, makeup, You're looking at it. It's basically just a little bit of lip, a little bit of mascara, a little bit of like cheek, and that's basically it. Yeah.
Hey, there for the people asking. There you go. Keep it simple.
Yeah. We're in quarantine. I don't have a team with me. That would be nice.
So looking towards the future, what are some of your goals or projects you might be working on that you can share with us that people can keep up to date with?
Yeah, well, aside from the ones that I'm working on, that I'm writing, I'm really excited about those. It's kind of hard to know anything else because I've auditioned and the industry has completely shut down. So hopefully on January 1st or January 2nd when it opens back up, I will have some new jobs and information to share. But as of now, I have nothing to share, but I'm sure it will happen very soon.
But see, just like everyone, I feel like it's been such a hard time in the world. Like everyone's lives have changed, like in some way or another. It's like we're just kind of holding out a little bit. But what have you been doing in the meantime? Like, have you been? I feel like you haven't just been sitting around. Like, you've been writing and things like that. Like, what are some of the things that maybe you've been doing, or just, I guess, again, I'm back to you with advice for people on like get out of like their rut. Like if they're feeling kind of like, oh, like I'm still, everything's on pause. Like I want to be an actress or I want to be a writer, but like I don't have the motivation to do it right now. Like, how do you keep going?
Well, first, I think you need to remove the lack of mentality. I think it's very common to hop in. Even me, I hop into moments of insecurity, but it's honestly like it's really all perspective because every time that I'm going through like a quote unquote tough time, like we would be robots if we were just happy all the time. Like we need to cry. We need to I'm an avid believer in crying because it removes that blocked energy. If you don't cry, you hold it in. Like where does that go? Nowhere. It literally stores in your body. There's a book called The Body Keeps Score, and anything you go through, whether it's childhood trauma from 20 years ago, like that is stored in your cell memory as sense memory with your body. So like that's just know that's why triggers come up or like things like that. So I think just awareness of your own emotions is really a way to navigate the uncharted waters. But also in COVID, just adapt. It's hard to do, obviously, but at some point or the other, you can stay stagnant and make COVID your excuse for why you're unhappy or not doing anything in your life. And, I know a lot of people who have honed in on this time and found it very great, not only for work, but as personal growth. I definitely think this year has been a huge personal growth for a lot of people because it forced us literally to be inside with our thoughts, something that people aren't forced to do with ever. Like, for the most part, a lot of people live their life and they're working busy, like they don't have a second to think about themselves. And so I think that's why it was hard for some people, because it's like, oh wait, this free time, that's when the brain goes rampant. That's actually an antidote to depression, is busying yourself, literally working hands. Idle hands is the devil's play. So the opposite is that's for real. Like I have a very weird life as far as structure goes, and so if I need to implement structure in my life to feel like a normal person. So I have to wake up and I am a normal person, we all are, but because I don't have a 9 to 5, I wake up and I have to do meditation. I'm very avid.
And so do you meditate every single day?
Yeah. I actually have not today. There's some times which I think it's nice to break your own routine. Today I decided, I woke up and normally I get out of bed and I start the day. And today I was like, I'm going to lay in bed for an hour. Yeah, I did, but I woke up at 7, so it's okay to do that, when it's early. If it was like noon, I would have been like itching. Yeah, I think just stay busy, stay smiling, watch JT Firstman's Instagram impression videos. If you're ever sad, binge watch some stuff. And then I think being in nature is very important. I need it. So luckily I have a little back area here and I spend a lot of time there. I've made like a little Costa Rican jungle forest. I have like a whole garden and it's nice because it feels like you're nurturing something. It's like you're you watch it grow from seedling, and you have to water it, and you're like a Tamagotchi, it's cool.
We have a few more questions popping up.
Are you
that I ask them real quick. People want to know about your music.
My music. Okay.
Do you have some new music in the works?
So the way that I do music is it's not like traditional. My music that you're probably referring to are my infamous freestyles on SoundCloud, and
I think that is, yeah, because they were asking. Yeah. I think that's what they're referring to.
To be fair, like I love them, like, because to me it's melodic therapy. It's stream of consciousness. I'm a very musical person. I think everyone in my family was musical. My sister came out for singing. My brother's a music producer. My mom was playing the sax and the flute while I was in the belly, as a dancer. And so I think for the most part, a lot of people in my life were in music. So I was always like, I told myself I'm the actor. That's their thing. I didn't think you could do more than one thing. I think for a while, I don't know who put that in my brain or what, but I didn't know that you could do more than one thing. And so
many people say you have to pick something and just focus on it and do that only. So I totally get where you're from.
Like, honestly, most people that are talented in one thing are, for the most part, always talented in another thing. Like, that's just, I know so many actors who like play guitar or sing, and it really does kind of, it's expressionism through art. And I mean, I can't draw to save my life, but I dance and I sing. And yeah, the singing, it's like a rapping singing. So it's like jazz, R&B, rock and roll. I don't know. It's got a very like lo-fi type sound. But yeah, I never write anything, so it's all on the spot. But it's I'm pretty impressed, to be honest, and it only gets better. I actually one of my friends that I did a freestyle with, it's like a 7-minute freestyle. It pops off. It's a 2-parter, so the second half really goes pretty off. And some of my friends were more established in the music industry are like, I want to grab this and make something with it. I know I will come out with things down the line, but it's not my priority right now. But I think we could do it all. I just I do it for fun. It's more of a hobby for now. I don't have the time or energy. There's no part of me that wants to go on a tour ever. Like, if I'm super down to like, one of my goals is to get featured on, like, or not featured, but to go Hollywood Bowl, perform like one song, like just at someone's show, be like, hey, we're bringing out Keana, she's gonna do a song, like, hey, that I'm down with. My own tour, I've seen that, I'm okay. I mean, it's fun because I'd rather be on set. My passion is acting when it comes to, like, if I had to choose one or the other. But I have fun freestyling and singing, and for me, it's really healing. It's really, music is healing. I mean, acting is healing too, but sometimes you have lines that people are giving you. With the freestyling, there's no thought. It's just, and then it comes out and it makes sense and it's pretty poetic, and that's when you're like, that's cool, because I didn't write any of this. None of this was workshopped. So it's fun. It's fun. I think there's also a little tad bit of humor in my music. It's like a weird, I don't know, there was an artist I heard the other day that's like a little bit like my vibe. I don't know who it was, but she sings and then has like a rap. When she raps, it's like sometimes a little comedy or comical. I don't know.
I love it. Well, Keana, thank you so much. I feel like I could just keep asking you questions all day, but I want to wrap it up so I'm respectful of your time. But I appreciate you so much for joining the Sarah Scoop show today and talking with me, answering everyone's questions. And I cannot wait to see what amazing things you do in the future.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was so great to talk to you. Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays to you as well. I'll hopefully talk to you again in 2021.
Sounds great.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for watching The Sarah Scoop Show. Head to sarahscoop.com for more.